we have some updates in the 3 men that were found frozen and passed away in a backyard in Kansas City. You remember we covered this last week and you were talking about it, saying they were found after like going to watch a Chiefs game at their friend's house, and we didn't know anything.
Nothing.
Well, we still don't know much, but we know a little bit more. So if you didn't see last week, we know all the names now, but here's a basic rundown. So Ricky Johnson, David Harrington, and Clayton McGeeney's bodies were discovered on January 9th. This was 2 days after they got together to all watch the Kansas City Chiefs game at their friend Jordan Willis's home on January 7th. McGeeney's fiance got worried because she hadn't heard from him since then and went looking for him at Willis's house, where she saw him dead on the back porch. She called the police. The police responded and came and found him and 2 more bodies in the backyard. It's been mystery, and there's been a lot of speculation around what could have happened to these men because it's so strange. How do they all get together, crack a few beers, eat some snacks, and watch a game and end up dead on the back porch? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So far, the police are all saying they have found no evidence of foul play at all. But apparently, Willis's attorney, John Percerno, something like that. Okay, we're just going to call him John so I don't butcher his last name. But he says they're waiting the autopsy and the toxicology results, that he had no idea that they were back there, that after the game, he went to bed. Willis went to bed and felt comfortable going to bed because it's his friends at the house, and had no idea for those 2 days that his friends were all out there dead. He went to bed and had no clue. We also have a report saying there was a 5th man there, but he left a couple hours before Willis went to bed.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Now, that's strange. Like, how do you go to bed and then for 2 days not notice all 3 of your friends that were there are not answering the phone, not texting back, and are literally laying in your backyard dead?
Well, to be fair, if it's more understandable than 8 hours after being home when a violent crime occurred.
Yeah, but
I get it more.
Yeah, I guess so.
There have been times where I haven't gone in my backyard for a long time, especially if you live at a house where you park out in the front. There might be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before you go in the backyard.
2 of the victims' cars were found out front, parked on the street.
Okay, that's more weird.
Yeah, because he would have noticed his friends' cars are still there.
Yeah.
It is weird.
More weird.
He apparently had come and gone from his house several times sporadically during those 2 days. So it's a bit odd he didn't notice his friends' cars never moving or leaving. Nothing really seems to add up. So I have an article here from the New York Post, and it's from the parents of one of the men. It's Ricky Johnson's father saying he thinks that Willis had something to do with it. And it's more information about who Willis is. So he is an HIV data scientist.
Okay.
I heard a bunch of rumors going around saying he was a chemist, and that doesn't appear to be true. He's an HIV scientist. I don't know where the chemist part of this is coming from. So if I'm wrong on that and there's some other information out there I'm aware of, definitely let me know. but that's interesting. He's a scientist. And we also, in this article, have information that some of these men have done drugs in the past.
Okay.
But
I mean, what? Who hasn't?
Right. But the family members feel like they're all really responsible adults.
Like pretty straight-laced.
Yeah, they're all very responsible adults, and that they're concerned because they do not feel like this makes sense. And he essentially makes the allegation that all three of those men were drugged and then dragged outside.
Oh, and is there evidence of this?
So one theory that I had kind of going around in my mind, and it was after Cluminati had a live about it, and I only got to see a small part of it, but somebody was mentioning them drinking and the possibility of getting something laced, which right now, that is a big possibility with what's going on with fentanyl. You could buy marijuana and get it laced. You know, you could buy one drug that goes really well with alcohol for a lot of people is cocaine. And that is very easy to lace because fentanyl is a white powder. You know,
and there's also that one girl that we talked about a while ago that she was a college student and had a bunch of papers due. So she bought what she thought was an Adderall and took a quarter of it. And because it was not scientifically manufactured and created, which has a reliable spread of, you know, the deadly or important chemicals in the fillers and things like that. She happened to get a piece that had enough fentanyl in it to OD multiple people. And all she took was a quarter of what she thought was an Adderall and died.
And I also heard on that Cluminati's live stream, somebody, I'm not sure, she had a few people talking. Somebody said, well, if they had something laced and it had fentanyl in it, I know that makes people not able to breathe. So maybe they ran outside and passed out and froze to death. I just want to say that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So it does depress breathing. That is accurate, but you don't feel it like that. It's not like all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. No, you're passing out simultaneously and your breathing is being depressed.
Yeah, once it gets to that point, it's like this.
Yeah, you just do this. And then your lips start turning blue. And it's like, it looks like you're falling asleep, but then color changes will start to happen. You're not aware enough to run outside. It's not even possible.
Yeah.
That is not how, nodding out. That is not how this drug works at all.
No.
So that's, no. I don't put any validity in that, and I'm not calling them out. I think I know.
No, it's important to be clear on what can or can't happen.
Yeah.
It's not about calling anybody out. Nobody's right or wrong. This is just learning together, and some people are going to have more knowledge than other people will because of life experiences and things like that. You know, we've just been around people in person firsthand, not once, not twice, tens, if not hundreds of times, and have firsthand seen this happen due to, you know, past stuff and whatnot. So, they would, if you're at the point of your breathing being depressed and you feel like you're you wouldn't feel like you were in danger. No, that would never happen. You would just OD and die. So there's these stories. To give an example, just to back up what I'm saying, you guys can look this up. I try and give examples that you can look up. There are EMTs out there that are scared to hit people that are ODing on opiates with
Narcan,
or norepinephrine or not the adrenaline one. It's noradrenal something. But they used to do it in a mix, and they were scared of doing that because somebody that's literally dying, like if this EMT didn't give them this, they would have died 100%. They'll give them the drug to save them, and they'll get up and try and fight them because they're so mad that they made them not feel as good as they were feeling. But hey, dude, you might have felt good, but you were dying. Like,
right. All your vitals are going down. You're turning colors. Like, I've personally seen ODs in person. I've been around when they've happened. I have literally saved people's lives. So I know this is how it works, the way we're saying. So I just don't think that is a possibility.
They would have to have been using it outside for that to happen if they were using it. So it would smoked, which is pretty rare, but can happen. It just, it's hard. I don't know.
Now,
and you would be able to tell if they were doing anything injectable like IV, because there would be blood splotching and an entrance wound and things like that. So yeah, I don't know.
And
it's a weird one.
So in the toxicology and the autopsy are going to be vital in this case to determine if the bodies were moved after death. Also, there's snow outside. So if they were dragged, I think it would be it depends on if there was snow on the ground before or after the bodies ended up where they ended up. Because if there was snow before, then the cops could clearly see dragging marks. Yep. They could clearly see other people's footprints. So the fact that they're saying they don't see foul play is interesting. Like it makes me wonder, did they have jackets and coats on? It was only 33 degrees outside. That's cold enough, but that's not even below freezing.
Yeah.
So it's like, how could all three of these men end up that way? It's not negative. Like if we were talking -40, like it was in Illinois and, Iowa and Montana, like all these Midwest northern states a couple weeks ago, if we were talking -40, that would be a different story.
Oh yeah, completely different.
But the fact that it was 33, which is a degree above freezing, it makes it even more questionable to me. I don't, honestly, the only thing I could think with drugging is possibly getting something that's laced, but that would have to mean, like you said, they were doing it outside and hanging out outside, and it would probably be smoking. If you've ever heard of people dipping cigarettes in certain things or lacing marijuana, there's many ways you could get something laced. Smoking it outside because they don't allow smoking in the house, maybe. Or did it inside, and the bodies were placed out there. But it seems like there would be indicators the cops could see pretty clearly that they were moved.
Yeah, you would think so.
You would think so. But it is really strange, and the families have big concerns, which I completely understand. This is very concerning to me as well. And those autopsy and toxicology results are going to be vital. And it's interesting that man is a scientist. Like, that's really weird.
Yeah, maybe. It just depends. So chemist would be much more interesting. Scientist isn't as interesting because scientist can mean a million things. What's interesting is that he is a data scientist. Okay, so I expect him to work with data figures and data sets and charts and planning and looking for trends and things like that. That's what I'm assuming the kind of scientist he is I would assume if he's an HIV data scientist, then he is gathering and or managing data from HIV patients to see effectiveness of medication, continuing to work on the medication to resolve HIV in general. We still don't have something to cure it completely. So that's very different than a chemist, right? When you hear chemist, I bet most people connect like Breaking Bad,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, a chemist would be very, very interesting, or involved somehow in pharmaceutical research, scientists, formulate anything like that. I'd be like, whoa, that's strange. But here's another detail real quick before I wrap this up. Whoa. Okay. So the victim's relatives said that when police officers responded to the house, Willis met them at the door in his boxers with an empty wine glass in his hand. And this is 2 days later, and he was drinking. Yeah. So he also, it says Willis's attorney told the news outlet that the stemware, the wine glass, contained water and had been refilled after being used to drink wine the night before. Also, he was asleep on the couch, and the last memory Willis has is of them leaving out the front door, and he doesn't know what happened until the police came Tuesday night to his house.
Wait, what? So he thinks maybe he was drugged?
I don't know. No.
So he has 2 days of memory missing?
No, nobody said he has 2 days of memory missing.
You just said the last memory he has
of that night is him falling asleep on the couch, and he has a memory of them walking out the front door. And then he doesn't know what happened to them until the police came to his house and were like, there's dead bodies in your backyard.
Okay. Whoa.
But again, I told you the victims' cars, or, the deceased people's cars, were out parked on the street still. And he had left his house multiple times.
I get it. Look.
And it is odd that he had drank wine and everything. Again, like, how often does this man drink?
This is more plausible to me than, like I said, jokingly, the Idaho 4 story. It's very different having, being drunk, openly drunk, and falling asleep inside. We don't even know what ended these guys. If these guys were ripped apart by a knife, you would assume that would be something really loud and would like wake somebody up. But the autopsy is going to be essential here. I don't know. I think it's very possible he might not be involved. I think it's possible that he could be involved. I think everything is going to hinder on what that autopsy says. Everything. Because I could see this being true.
There has to be something in common with all three of them that he was not a part of. If he had nothing to do with it, that has to mean they either ingested something that he did not, or, it almost feels like a case of poisoning. Like, it feels so weird. It's really strange.
It is.
And from what we're seeing, it sounds like there was nothing apparent that showed, like, this is how they died. This is like foul play. Yeah. Somebody hurt them, or there's nothing.
It's probably going to be some kind of poisoning, but still, normally there's evidence of a poisoning. Poisoning doesn't happen easy. Normally, your body tries to get rid of everything as quickly as
you're going to expel things
from everywhere. Yeah. There is also some additional, what's that called? When certain blood vessels break, when there's pressure and things like that. So a lot of times around your eyes,
you can have discoloration in different parts. Yeah,
show some of that, or bleeding.
Normally you can tell. Bleeding inside the body in different places.
Plus it changes the decomp rate and a lot of things like that. So
So
this is interesting.
I really hope that the autopsy they're doing is a forensic autopsy, which I would assume it would be, because there is a difference in autopsies. But we'll see. I'm going to keep my eyes on it because it's a true mystery, and I'm really, really curious where this is going to go. It's super sad because, these men were husbands, fiancés, fathers, sons, brothers, and they all sounded like they were all pretty respectable and, nice guys. And it's pretty sad. They went to their friend's house to watch the game, and that was it. It's super strange, but let me know your opinions, your theories, what you think happened here, or if you have any additional information, you live in the area or you just found something, let me know in the comments.
Let us know.